from Fox News, because these reports on the 60 Minutes interview from Harris are all over the place. I'm not seeing very many positive ones. We'll just say Fox News has criticism. 60 Minutes asks Harris whether it was a mistake for Biden admin to go soft on the border. VP repeatedly dodges. Now, of course, Trump has responded. And instead of giving any compliments to Kamala Harris, Daily Beast just says Trump gets unhinged, even for him, over Kamala Harris' 60 Minutes interview. You may be asking yourselves, Tim, how do we know what the truth is? If the liberal side is saying that Kamala did just fine and Trump is unhinged, and the conservative side is saying, no, Kamala it was miserably bad. It was awful. Well, how do we know it's true? You got to ask Vegas, because when you take a look at the betting odds, you can see it plain as day. Donald Trump is enjoying a 3-point lead over Harris, and it is specifically after the CBS interview drops that the betting odds for Trump shot straight up. Trump didn't say anything. This is the important factor. If we pull up Polymarket specifically, you can see that just following this, literally, it's basically right around the time the CBS interview clips are beginning to drop. They're going viral. We just see Donald Trump's odds jump straight up. Now, we can see that Trump's odds were improving. We were getting word that Kamala was going to be doing this interview. Clips had been emerging. But it really looks like in aggregate, Kamala sank. You know, she just did The View. She did Howard Stern. We'll talk about that. But I got to say, when it comes to this interview, it really does seem like, in fact, she bombed it. I'm curious what y'all think.
The only thing I learned from this interview is that she says she owns a Glock, which I find fascinating and convenient that she would pick the law enforcement gun. I think that it is also fascinating that she would be on a media blitz right now. I mean, it's not just this show, although this is probably the biggest. She did call her daddy. She's apparently about to do late night shows and all kinds of things. And her poll numbers are going down, which probably means that every one of her advisors that was like, we cannot let this woman speak to the public, knew what they were talking about.
I think my favorite part was when Bill Whitaker, the reporter for the journalist for CBS, asks her about the people don't know who you are. You know, you're running, but they still don't know who you are. And then she has the gall to say that, I'm honored to have earned the support of the delegates. You can't just expect to be made the candidate or the nominee or whatever. And it's just, that's literally what happened. But hey, look, we can complain all day and night. The betting odds are tanking. Trump's improving. There's a lot of news. We got a story, Wall Street Journal, talking about the internal polling in Michigan has Democrats panicking. And this is the second time we've heard this because she is losing white-collar workers.
Kamala Harris, I think, now is struggling from a post-honeymoon phase. So everything was really jolly after the convention, and going to the convention, she got the whole Democrat Party behind her. But as more questions are being brought up, she's going to struggle to maintain that coalition. One of the really good questions in a clip I saw from Bill Whitaker was asking about how she's changed her position specifically on immigration. She's changed her position on Medicare for all. She supported that in the past and now doesn't. And the more that her actual positions are exposed, the more difficult it will be for her to be able to maintain this coalition that she's building. And it's only going to slowly go downhill from here. I think the Kamala Harris campaign is just hoping that before the election, she maintains above 50%.
Well, let me play this clip. You can hear it right from the show.
A quarter of registered voters still say they don't know you. They don't know what makes you tick. And why do you think that is? What's the disconnect?
It's an election, Bill. And I take it seriously that I have to earn everyone's vote. This is an election for President of the United States. No one should be able to take for granted that they can just declare themselves a candidate and automatically receive support. You have to earn it. And
I got to be honest. I have seen so much from the Harris campaign in the past couple of days. I think a good reason why her betting odds went down over the weekend was that tweet where she said she's giving Lebanon $157 million. But I have to wonder if after this, she goes backstage with Tim Walz and they bust out laughing, being like, can you believe that people buy this? She literally says in 60 Minutes, you can't take for granted just being made the nominee or whatever. Like, she's describing herself. She has to know this.
That's kind of an empty answer, too. Like, I still don't know who she is, right? Like, I don't, like, she did all these interviews, like, well, what are her substantive positions on anything. I don't know. And she seems to blow with the wind.
And how does she respond to voters who are saying, we don't know who you are? And her response is, yes, I have to earn votes. Okay, but we're not that far out, and you're not really explaining who you are. Like, you have an opportunity to say, oh, well, obviously, you know, I have to do more to sort of explain to people why I think I'm the champion for this, that, and the other. And instead, she's sort of like, here are a lot of platitudes and empty answers, and I won't address their concerns that they don't know me well enough, you know, less than 30 days before the election.
Why she's refusing to answer the question, who am I? What are my positions on things, is because people will attack her for it. If she's running on, I'm a second term of Joe Biden, then she'll be attacked as too pro-Israel and not progressive enough. If she comes out with a very anti-Israel position or extremely pro-Medicaid for all, it's going to ruin the coalition that the Democrats have built. That it's untenable, and they're hoping that they could just hold it together with tape for another month or so until it all really falls apart, and then they're going to let all the cracks show, because once Kamala Harris, if God forbid Kamala Harris was elected, then we will see the coalition, I think, splinter fairly quickly.
Yeah. Well, we got another clip, because we're just going to, I'm sorry for all the viewers at home who are going, please, Tim, no more clips of Kamala. No, you got to listen, because you have to learn.
Let me tell you what your critics and the columnists say.
Okay.
They say that the reason so many voters don't know you is that you have changed your position on so many things. You were against fracking, now you're for it. You supported looser immigration policies, now you're tightening them up. You were for Medicare for all, now you're not. So many that people don't truly know what you believe or what you stand for, and I know you've heard that.
In the last 4 years, I have been Vice President of the United States. And I have been traveling our country. And I have been listening to folks and seeking what is possible in terms of common ground. I believe in building consensus. We are a diverse people, geographically, regionally, in terms of where we are in our backgrounds. And what the American people do want is that we have leaders who can build consensus, where we can figure out compromise and understand it's not a bad thing as long as you don't compromise your values.
Wow, and people complain
to find
about Trump,
common sense solutions.
All right, Tor, what's your assessment? Have you been convinced to vote for her?
No, I just don't know. Like, she just dodges everything. Like, what's her position? She blows with the wind. She seems like an opportunist. I don't just answer the question, man. I mean,
she doesn't have an answer. That's the issue.
Well, she doesn't. She's terrified of being pinned down because she wants to be able to switch to whatever's convenient. Like, she's like taking Liz Cheney's endorsement. Like, I thought the Cheneys were like the kiss of death on the left, right? Like, what's going on?
They're valued Republicans now.
Well,
Adam Kinzinger.
Right.
I mean, when you saw that Dick and Liz Cheney were endorsing the Democrats, like, what was your assessment when you saw that happen? Did it surprise you?
No, it didn't, because I think she's an opportunist, you know, and I think that's like why she dated Montel. That's why she dated Slick Willie. That's why, like, that's her whole, you know, history. And like, date who you want and get up to the top however you want. But when you're at this level and you want to be president of the United States, I want a straight answer on what your positions are.
There's no one left to date.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, she's trying to date the American public, right?
Not well, though. You know? Like,
I don't know.
She's not convincing anyone of her prowess as a charismatic leader here. I wonder too if it bothers anyone else. They have, you know, one shot on the interviewer, right? They occasionally cut to her face, but when she's giving her answers, there's a bunch of jump cuts there. I find myself thinking, like, did you actually say a lot of other random things? And they were like, we just got to condense this down. This woman is just talking nonsense.
I think the real reason why she's changed her positions on this is because in the past she was running in a primary from the left against Joe Biden, so she had more of the further leftist positions. And otherwise in California, she was running as a senator, again in California, one of the bluest states we have. So obviously she has to be extremely progressive there. She has to flip on fracking now. Why? Because she has to win Pennsylvania. So all of this just comes down to the politics of it. She's running to win, not because of any of her ideals, or she's at least masking them now. But that's the real reason. Any of these things have changed. When she was running against Joe Biden, she wasn't the real moderate in that primary. So she had to say, hey, I support Medicare for all. I support sex changes for government-funded sex changes for illegal immigrants, because I'm going to take the progressive bulwark. I'm going to be the progressive bulwark in this race. Now she's the moderate because she wants to to appear moderate relative to Donald Trump. So that's why she's trying to stake these less extreme positions. So climate change doesn't exist anymore, I guess. I guess climate change is no longer an existential issue.
That was never her
If
signature
we're
issue.
worried, for all progressives it was, and she was against fracking in the past. So now why she's for fracking, not because climate change does or doesn't matter, but it's because it's not popular right now in Pennsylvania. So as things blow in the wind, her only principle is getting elected.
Thanks for watching this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to check out the live show Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. on this channel. Subscribe and we'll see you all there.